It was a scorching summer evening in a small Californian town. The sky was painted in shades of orange and red, the kind that made your heart race with unease. Most people were already packing their bags, evacuating their homes, but 16-year-old Emily Thompson couldn't leave. Not yet. Emily had always been brave, but no one expected her to face a wildfire alone. The flames were spreading fast, devouring everything in their path: trees, fences, even houses. She could see smoke rolling toward her neighbors' homes, and her heart sank. She knew if she didn't act, families could lose everything. With a bucket in one hand and a garden hose in the other, Emily ran from house to house, warning people, helping them evacuate, and even trying to douse small fires before the fire trucks arrived. Every corner she turned, the fire roared louder, heat scorching her skin, yet she kept moving. Fear didn't paralyze her, it fueled her courage. Neighbors watched in disbelief as this teen girl became a force of nature herself. Parents who had thought their children were too young to make a difference now realized that heroism doesn't come in age or size. It comes in heart. By the time the fire department arrived, Emily had already saved multiple homes from certain destruction. She was exhausted, covered in soot, yet her eyes sparkled with determination. That night, she didn't just save houses. She saved lives, hopes, and the spirit of her entire neighborhood. Welcome to US Braveher, where every story sparks courage. Hit subscribe, join our brave community, and don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. Enjoy the story. As the fire blazed through the neighborhood, sirens wailed in the distance. Firefighters were on their way, but Emily knew that every second counted. Houses were at risk, and some of her neighbors hadn't even realized the danger yet. She sprinted down narrow streets, knocking on doors, shouting warnings. Some people were panicked, unsure what to do, while others had already started loading cars. Emily stayed calm, guiding them, helping children and elderly neighbors carry essentials, and making sure pets weren't left behind. At one house, flames were licking the roof. Without thinking, Emily grabbed a hose, spraying water as best she could. The heat was intense, smoke filling her lungs, but she didn't stop. Each spray of water felt like a small victory, a pause in the chaos. She could hear her own heartbeat pounding, yet she kept moving, driven by a sense of duty stronger than fear. Neighbors watched in awe. They whispered, "How is she so fearless?" Emily didn't feel fearless, she felt determined. She realized that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the choice to act despite it. And tonight, she had a choice: run for safety or fight for everyone she loved. By the time the fire trucks arrived, Emily had done more than anyone expected. She had bought precious time, saved homes, and protected families from the worst of the flames. Exhausted but unbroken, she finally allowed herself a deep breath. But deep down, she knew the night was far from over. The fire was growing fiercer now. Thick, black smoke rolled through the streets, and the roar of flames echoed like thunder. Emily's lungs burned with every breath, but she couldn't stop. She thought of the families she had guided so far and knew that leaving anyone behind was not an option. At one corner, an elderly man was trapped inside his garage, unable to move quickly. Emily didn't hesitate. She ran through the smoke, shouting his name. The heat scorched her skin, and sparks rained down like fiery raindrops, but she reached him just in time. Guiding him to safety, she realized that heroism wasn't just about stopping the fire. It was about saving people from despair, giving hope when everything seemed lost. Children clung to their parents, crying, terrified by the chaos. Emily knelt down to reassure them, her soot-covered face offering a strange sense of comfort. "It's going to be okay," she said, though her own heart raced. Every step she took, every door she knocked on, felt like a battle she had to win. Not against the flames, but against the fear that threatened to paralyze everyone around her. Firefighters arrived shortly after, rushing past Emily with hoses and axes. She stepped back, exhausted but proud. She had done everything she could. Yet she couldn't stop worrying about the houses still at risk. She knew this night would leave scars, but she also knew one thing: courage, no matter how small, could change the course of disaster. Even as the fire raged on, Emily's determination burned brighter. She had become more than a teenager that night. She had become a symbol of hope for her entire neighborhood. By now, the fire had transformed the night into a living nightmare. Orange flames danced across the skyline, and the smell of smoke was overwhelming. Yet Emily didn't stop. Every house she checked, every family she guided to safety, added another layer to her courage. She was no longer just helping, she was leading. At one street, a young boy had wandered away from his parents, lost and scared. Emily spotted him crying near a burning fence. Without hesitation, she dashed through the heat, scooped him up, and ran back to safety. The boy clung to her, his tears soaking her soot-streaked shirt. In that moment, Emily realized the true weight of responsibility, how a single person's actions could ripple through countless lives. Neighbors who had been evacuated earlier were now returning to help, inspired by her fearlessness. Together, they formed a small human chain, passing buckets of water, carrying belongings, and comforting those in shock. Emily, exhausted and covered in soot, watched with pride. She had sparked something bigger than herself, a community that refused to give up, even in the face of destruction. Hours passed, and the fire began to lose its momentum, finally giving way to the firefighters' efforts. Emily collapsed on the curb, her body trembling from exhaustion, but her spirit soared. She had faced the impossible and acted when no one else could. That night, Emily Thompson proved that true bravery isn't about fame or recognition. It's about choosing to act when it matters most. And as the first light of dawn broke over the smoke-filled sky, her neighborhood knew one undeniable truth. Heroes come in all shapes, ages, and sizes, and sometimes they are only 16 years old. As the first light of dawn touched the charred neighborhood, the true impact of the night became clear. Homes were damaged, gardens were blackened, and trees that had stood for decades were reduced to ash. Yet amidst the destruction, a spirit of resilience shone brighter than any flame. Emily sat on the curb, watching neighbors emerge from their temporary shelters. They hugged, cried, and shared stories of how they had survived the night. Each story had her name woven into it, a reminder of her bravery. Parents spoke of the courage of a 16-year-old who had run toward danger when everyone else ran away. Children whispered in awe about the girl who had become their protector. Even the firefighters, seasoned men and women who had faced countless emergencies, nodded in respect. She did more than anyone could imagine, one said. Emily felt a mixture of pride and humility. She hadn't acted for recognition. She had acted because it was the right thing to do. Throughout the day, volunteers and neighbors began cleaning up, sharing food, and helping each other rebuild. Emily joined them, still tired but determined. That night's events had transformed her. She realized heroism isn't always about grand gestures or awards. It's about selflessness, courage, and the willingness to face fear head-on. By evening, the community gathered for a small ceremony organized spontaneously by the neighbors. They thanked Emily, not just for saving homes, but for reminding everyone that hope and bravery could thrive even in the darkest moments. That 16-year-old girl had not only faced a wildfire, she had ignited a fire of courage and unity that would never burn out. The wildfire was finally under control, and the neighborhood was beginning to heal, but Emily's journey that night left a lasting mark on everyone. Stories of her bravery spread through the town, on social media, and even local news stations. People from nearby towns reached out to praise her courage, amazed that someone so young could act with such fearlessness. But Emily didn't see herself as a hero. She thought about the family she had guided, the boy she had saved, and the neighbors who had found hope in her determination. She realized that true courage wasn't about recognition. It was about making choices when it mattered most. Every small action, every extra step she took, had made a difference. Her parents, proud yet exhausted from the night's chaos, embraced her. "You saved lives, Emily," her father said, tears in his eyes. "You've shown all of us what it truly means to be brave." Emily smiled faintly, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the joy of knowing she had acted with purpose. The town began planning to rebuild, stronger and more united than before. Emily, though tired, joined in, lending a hand wherever she could. She realized that bravery wasn't just in moments of crisis. It was also in helping the world recover, in lifting others up, and in continuing to act with kindness and courage every single day. That night, as she finally lay down to rest, Emily knew she had discovered something important. One person's courage could ripple outwards, touching countless lives and inspiring a community to stand together, no matter how fierce the fire. In the days following the fire, the neighborhood began to rebuild, but the memory of that night lingered in everyone's hearts. Emily's courage had sparked something bigger than herself. It had created a ripple of hope that reached far beyond her street. Local schools invited her to speak, not to boast but to inspire. Children listened wide-eyed as she shared her story, learning that fear is not the enemy, inaction is. Courage isn't the absence of fear, Emily told them. It's acting even when you're scared. Her words touched every listener, and parents nodded, realizing that true bravery can be found in the youngest among us. Even strangers reading about her heroism online felt motivated to help in their own communities. Donations poured in to aid the victims, volunteers signed up to assist with rebuilding, and local fire departments shared her story as an example of quick thinking and selfless action. Emily's actions had turned a disaster into a lesson about resilience, unity, and hope. But for Emily, the most important moments were quiet. A neighbor's smile, a child's hug, the grateful handshake from someone she had helped. These were the rewards that mattered most. She had learned that real courage doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes, it comes in the small, unseen acts that protect lives and strengthen communities. As she walked through her neighborhood, now slowly returning to normal, Emily realized something profound. One person's bravery can ignite a spark that grows into a flame of hope, touching hearts, inspiring others, and leaving a legacy that no fire can ever destroy. Though the flames were gone, the scars of the fire remained. Charred fences, melted toys, and blackened trees told the story of destruction. But Emily didn't see ruins, she saw opportunity. Opportunity for her neighborhood to come together, to rebuild stronger, to prove that hope is more powerful than fear. She went from house to house, helping neighbors clean debris, sharing food and supplies, and offering a comforting word. Some families were overwhelmed, crying as they realized how much they had lost. Emily knelt beside them, holding their hands, letting them know they weren't alone. Every smile she helped spark, every tear she dried, became a reminder of her unwavering bravery. News crews returned, eager to capture the story of the teen hero of Riverside Lane. Yet Emily's focus was never on fame. "I just did what anyone would do," she told reporters, though those who had seen her courage knew better. She had done what many adults might have hesitated to do, and in doing so, had inspired a whole community to act with compassion and courage. By evening, a small gathering formed in the neighborhood park. Neighbors shared stories, laughter, and tears. Emily looked around, soot still streaking her face, and realized something incredible. Bravery isn't just a single act, it's a ripple that spreads kindness, courage, and hope, long after the danger has passed. That night, as stars twinkled above the recovering neighborhood, Emily felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. She had faced fear, helped her community, and discovered a truth she would carry forever. That courage, no matter how small, can shine brighter than the fiercest fire. In the days that followed, the neighborhood was no longer just a collection of houses. It had become a community bound by courage, resilience, and hope. Emily's actions that night had inspired everyone to step up, to help one another, and to see strength where they had once felt fear. Families gathered to clean, rebuild, and plant new trees where old ones had been lost. Children who had witnessed the fire and Emily's bravery began organizing small acts of kindness, helping neighbors, feeding pets, even writing thank you notes to the firefighters. Every act was a reminder that courage can ripple far beyond a single moment. Emily herself didn't seek recognition, but her neighbors made sure she felt their gratitude. A handmade banner hung in the community center read, "Thank you, Emily, for showing us what true bravery looks like." Tears filled her eyes as she realized that heroism isn't measured in applause or awards. It's measured in the lives touched and hope restored. Even strangers reached out, sending letters, social media messages, and donations to help the community recover. Emily's courage had ignited more than hope. It had created a movement of compassion and action. People learned that sometimes, one person's bravery can inspire an entire town to rise above disaster, stand together, and rebuild stronger than ever. As she walked through the recovering streets, Emily understood the truth she had discovered. Real courage is quiet, persistent, and selfless. It's not about seeking glory. It's about choosing to act when it matters most, even when the odds seem impossible. And in doing so, it leaves a legacy that lasts far beyond the flames. Though the flames were gone, the scars of the fire remained. Charred fences, melted toys, and blackened trees told the story of destruction. But Emily didn't see ruins, she saw opportunity. Opportunity for her neighborhood to come together, to rebuild stronger, to prove that hope is more powerful than fear. She went from house to house, helping neighbors clean debris, sharing food and supplies, and offering a comforting word. Some families were overwhelmed, crying as they realized how much they had lost. Emily knelt beside them, holding their hands, letting them know they weren't alone. Every smile she helped spark, every tear she dried, became a reminder of her unwavering bravery. News crews returned, eager to capture the story of the teen hero of Riverside Lane. Yet Emily's focus was never on fame. "I just did what anyone would do," she told reporters, though those who had seen her courage knew better. She had done what many adults might have hesitated to do, and in doing so, had inspired a whole community to act with compassion and courage. By evening, a small gathering formed in the neighborhood park. Neighbors shared stories, laughter, and tears. Emily looked around, soot still streaking her face, and realized something incredible. Bravery isn't just a single act, it's a ripple. A ripple that spreads kindness, courage, and hope, long after the danger has passed. That night, as stars twinkled above the recovering neighborhood, Emily felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. She had faced fear, helped her community, and discovered a truth she would carry forever. That courage, no matter how small, can shine brighter than the fiercest fire.